As film lovers, our focus tends to be on the unfolding story, whether that be through dialogue, plot progression, or character development. But what about key information that a film's visuals convey? Details like use of color, costuming, set design, which all contribute to our understanding of the story's atmosphere and underlying themes. Hey everyone, it's Evan, and today we're going to do a deep dive into the visual masterpiece that is Guillermo del Toro's 2015 film Crimson Peak. Del Toro has built quite the reputation for favoring the strange, dark, and beautiful in terms of his world building, some of his most evident examples being Pan's Labyrinth, released back in 2006, and The Shape of Water, released in 2017, both of which won an Academy Award for Best Production Design. I believe that Crimson Peak is also worthy of notice in that regard, seeing as it is so rich in symbolic imagery. Not to be mistaken for a horror film, Del Toro explained that more than anything, Crimson Peak is a tale of gothic romance. Our story begins in 1887 Buffalo, New York. A 10-year-old Edith Cushing is haunted by the ghost of her recently deceased mother. Appearing as an ominous black specter, her skeletal rotted face obscured by a black veil, Edith's mother offers the warning, "Beware of Crimson Peak," though Edith cannot decipher its meaning. 14 years later, at the turn of the century, Edith is now a budding author who, rather than being traumatized by her paranormal encounter years earlier, finds herself fascinated by ghosts, often incorporating them into her stories. However, when the mysterious baronet Sir Thomas Sharp arrives from England with his sister Lucille, Edith is immediately taken with him. As she and Thomas form a friendship, gradually becoming closer, Edith's father, a wealthy industrialist, grows suspicious of Thomas's intentions. While Thomas claims to be in America seeking investments for his mining invention back in England, Edith's father cannot shake the feeling that something is off. Later, in a shocking turn of events, Edith's father is brutally murdered at his gentleman's club, the face of his killer obscured from our view. And Edith, now left without any blood relatives, marries Thomas soon after. After her father's funeral, Thomas takes Edith back to his family's estate in rural England, Allerdale Hall, a gargantuan, decaying mansion which sits atop a red clay mine. For the most part, Edith is given free rein of the house, although Thomas warns her to never go below the main floor. Right from the beginning, there are many telltale signs that something is amiss, the least of which is the red clay from the mines below seeping into the floorboards and dripping down the walls, giving it the appearance of blood. Not long after this, Edith notices other strange occurrences, including fleeting glimpses of a woman's shadow moving about the mansion, and nightmares of a ghoulish, blood-red apparition pointing towards Allerdale Hall. When she expresses these concerns to Thomas and Lucille, Thomas seems genuinely concerned for Edith's well-being, while Lucille is quick to dismiss these encounters as a figment of her imagination. However, as Edith's health gradually worsens, her paranormal encounters become increasingly vivid and disturbing, from hearing blood-curdling screams or coming face-to-face with the apparitions who offer cryptic warnings like this one. As these occurrences become more and more frequent, Edith starts to suspect that the Sharp siblings and the house itself are hiding a terrible secret. But the question remains, where else is there for her to go? Principal photography for Crimson Peak began at Pinewood Toronto Studios, with additional filming taking place in Hamilton and Kingston, Ontario. While some of the exterior shots of Allerdale Hall are enhanced through CGI to make it more imposing in appearance, all the interior shots were filmed in a set that was built to scale. In several interviews, Guillermo del Toro stated that it was important to him to give the mansion a distinct character, with all the furniture and interior architectural designs being made exclusively for the film, rather than using recycled props. The result was this massive Gothic-styled mansion that perfectly pays homage to the haunted house archetype. With a dimly lit, wide foyer situated right under a gaping hole in the roof, and rotting walls that span several floors, all connected by pointed frames and dark beams, we can immediately tell that something evil lurks here.
A house as old as this one becomes, in time, a living thing. It may have timber for bones and windows for eyes, But sitting here all alone, it can go slowly mad. It starts holding on to things, keeping them alive when they shouldn't be. Inside its walls, some of them good, some are bad, some should never be spoken about again.
Now, speaking personally as someone who was obsessed with the late Victorian era's aesthetic, watching Crimson Peak for the first time felt like entering another world entirely. What Guillermo del Toro has done, how he's expanded upon the look and feel of the period to make it sometimes whimsical and then more threatening at times, it's clear that he took some creative liberties, favoring essence over realism, but I think this choice ultimately worked in his favor. On another note, I couldn't get over how the stark contrast of Edith's costumes to Lucille's was so telling of their very different lived experiences. For instance, Edith's often cream-colored, flowy outfits, with all the puff sleeves and embroidered floral accents, reflect her inherently trusting nature and unawareness of the wickedness that exists in the world as a result of being raised in a very sheltered environment with wealth and privilege. In the case of Lucille, she is all too familiar with life's cruelty, as we later find out, and this is reflected in her oftentimes striking yet tight, constrictive outfits. From the moment we are introduced to her, she is shown wearing a blood-red gown whose skirt drapes to the floor like a pool of blood. In later scenes, she can be seen wearing black or dark blues, a very somber color that reflects the unhappiness that she and Thomas have known throughout their childhood as a result of being constantly abused and neglected at the hands of their parents. I'd also like to draw attention to the film's use of color as it pertains to the ghosts. After all, we see quite a few of them throughout the film. For the red ghosts, the ones that appear most frequently in the film, they died violent deaths, and as such, they often have a gruesome, mutilated, or rotting appearance. Black specters, on the other hand, are tied to a person or place because they cannot will themselves to move on, like Edith's mother, who remains tethered to the human world to warn her child. While still frightening in some aspects, they still carry some of their human characteristics, a reminder of who they were when they were alive. Lastly, white ghosts, perhaps the most rare in the film, are free and have no unfinished business. Having been absolved of all earthly matters, they have no need to communicate with the living or pass along warnings. As such, they appear as quiet and sad. But in the context of this film, perhaps that's a good thing. As Edith says towards the end of the film,
"Ghosts are weird. This much I know. There are things that tie them to a place, very much like they do us. Some remain tethered to a patch of land, a time and date, the spilling of blood, a terrible crime. There are others that hold on to an emotion, a drive, loss, revenge, or love. Those, they never go away."
Crimson Peak held its world premiere at Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas on September 25, 2015, with Guillermo del Toro in attendance. Overall, the film received generally positive reviews from critics and was praised for its, quote, delightfully creepy atmosphere. However, audiences felt that the film's storytelling lacked substance and ultimately failed to deliver on its chilling premise. After all, Crimson Peak was promoted as a horror film, something that Guillermo del Toro specifically said the film was not intended to be. I would just say this: if you're a horror buff, this film might not be for you. However, if you want to see a seductive tale of romance, secrets, moral decay, and redemption, all wrapped up with a bow in hauntingly beautiful visuals, Crimson Peak is definitely worth your time. These days, Crimson Peak flip-flops from streaming service to streaming service, but you can always rent or purchase it on Prime Video or Apple TV if you have a subscription, or if you don't, you can simply rent or purchase it on YouTube. For Met Radio 1280 AM CJTM in Toronto, I am Evan Zeller, and thanks for joining me today.